Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Good morning, Grand Rising, habari ya asubuhi. This is Simon Javan Okello. I am in Seattle, Washington. I am from Kisumu, Kenya originally, and I love being here for the daily African proverbs. This is how, we stay connected with our culture. We gain African wisdom by learning a new African proverb every single day. And today our proverb takes us all the way to Nigeria. And the proverb says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. We are discussing a Nigerian proverb that says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. This proverb is currently my pinned tweet on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Okello Javan. Please check it out, retweet, and feel free to engage with me over there on Twitter. I am also live streaming on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Simon Javan Okello. If you are on YouTube, please leave your comment with what this proverb means to you. Lack of knowledge is darker than night. And here on Clubhouse, I see Leki, I see Sarah, I see Steven, I see fella lives. Oh wow, I see Ben, I see Daniel and Joseph. Welcome to the Daily African Proverbs here in the African Father in America Club on Clubhouse. I do this every single day, and I have a community of people that also support this movement, and I'm just so grateful that we are all here. When I looked at the proverb, lack of knowledge is darker than night, so many things came to my mind, and I want to share them with you in a moment. But I also want to invite you, especially those who are on Clubhouse, to raise your hand and join me on stage so that we can learn together. We can learn something by the end of this room. And, when we press the end button, my hope is that all of us will have a little bit of wisdom and a little bit something extra to think about, and something that can encourage us to, just be a little more confident and feel a little wiser. So for me, this proverb reminded me that, if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do about it is to seek the knowledge, and also to be willing to fail. To be willing to struggle, to be willing to be vulnerable enough to talk about your struggles. Lack of knowledge is darker than night. When you don't know, you're literally in the dark. You don't know. For example, me as an African man who moved to the US in my 20s, I didn't know a lot. I feel like I am just learning about the US. And at the same time, I also have to learn about Africa, because I came to the US when I was 26. And I've been very, very privileged. Every year, I've had the opportunity to go back to the continent. Sometime I've been there for a month, sometime 2 weeks. Sometime I've been there twice. But really, I feel like I'm in a situation where I have to constantly learn about both places, but sometimes you just don't know. For example, here in the US, I'm just learning, that you actually don't have to be employed in order for you to survive. In Kenya, I grew up with an entrepreneurial mother, and we always had work to do, and we always had opportunities to make money just within our household. We worked for each other, and we still do that. My siblings and I still do a lot of things together for the community, and also in form of business. But when I came to the US, the mentality that I came with and the indoctrination that I was given was that you have to work in order to survive. So I worked for several years and I learned so much, and now I'm realizing that, if I put in all those years in my own business like I'm doing now, I would have the freedom to host this room like I'm doing right now. Otherwise, I would have been commuting for about 40 minutes to my corporate America job or my other hustles. So those are just some examples of really what this proverb could mean. Lack of knowledge is darker than night, a Nigerian proverb. I do want to give a shout out to all Kenyans in the room, because today is Mashujaa Day in Kenya. And Mashujaa Day is a day when, all the heroes that have brought some form of pride from independence to innovators and scholars. Today was a public holiday in Kenya when, all the heroes were being celebrated. And also today, the dusk to dawn curfew in Kenya was lifted. For the last almost year and a half, there's been a curfew in Kenya. For example, when I was there about a little over a week ago, by 10 p.m., if you are found in the streets, you are arrested and there's a big fine. And if you are outside of your house, before 4 a.m. in the morning, you also get arrested. So it was a very, very different situation compared to Seattle. Anyway, I want to welcome you all to the Daily African Proverbs. Leki, I want to hear your voice. For those who are, going to hear from Leki for the first time, she's just an amazing soul. And, she's interested in learning Kiswahili. We should add that to your bio. But Leki is a voiceover artist by choice, and people love her voice. She's also a Dress for Less guru. She is a queen of forgiveness, and she's also a lady with a sunshine smile. That's true. Thank you so much, Leki. Share with us your interpretation.
Good morning, Simon, and thank you so much for always, giving me the opportunity and always the warm welcoming that you give me. So, this morning when you read the proverb, I literally almost dropped some tears because it really did hit home for me. This proverb says to me that, just like you said, lack of knowledge. Oh man, like that really did hit home for me because as a people, and I'm just, how normally I come with like something positive to say.
Yeah.
But today, what I'm going to say is positive, but it's definitely going to maybe ruffle some feathers. But what that made me feel is that as a people, we have historically lacked the knowledge of unity. And that is why our people experience so much darkness. And that's just how I feel. Black people, I don't care where you're from. If your skin look like mine, you're black. Okay? So if we don't get that we need to unite as a people, we will forever experience this dark place that we are in. We will never be able to help out our other um, black people, the people that we see that are suffering. The only people that can help them is us. Ain't nobody coming for us. We got to come for us. And that starts with unity. Historically, we have a history of not uniting as a people. That is lack of knowledge. Have we not learned yet? What unity provides us is strength in numbers. We have got to come together. I don't care where you're from. Every black person on this phone, every black person in this world, my brother and sister, my mother and father. The elders is my mother and father. David is my brother. Simon is my brother. Kalima, Sarah, Walter, Daniel. Hey, listen, everybody come from Africa. Okay? We the first. So everybody is my brother and sister in this world. So, but first, if the first people who inhabited this world can't unite, how the heck do we think that we're going to unite as a people with any other race? We can't even unite with each other. That's a lack of knowledge. We still haven't learned that. And guess what? That's our karmic. That's why we're receiving all of that karma, because we still keep going through more and more dark times to teach us, and we still do not learn. That's a lack of knowledge, and it keeps us right in the dark. I love y'all. It's Lexi, and I'm out.
Wow, 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 wow. Let's give just a bit of some mic taps on the stage, really, to honor what Lexi just said, because Lexi, you're like Boniface Mwangi. You know, Boniface Mwangi, you should research him. He's an amazing leader, activist, and probably one of the most celebrated photographers in Africa. But he says things that I wish I could say, or he says things that I'm thinking of, but I can't, speak them articulately the way you just did. And it's true. It's true that if you look at history, even if you look at how influential Marcus Garvey became and some of the things he was able to accomplish, even financially, it was just because of his ability to bring black people together, And I do know that there is currently a lot of work going on. For example, last week, Kenya's president was I think he was in the Bahamas or something like that. There is so much engagement going on between the Africa Union and Caribbean countries, but I do know that there is need for the AU to engage with African Americans formally, because I also recently just learned that in the US, outside of African immigrants, African Americans alone are about 30 million people, and that's a country, that's a country. So this is a great conversation, and our conversation is based on an African proverb that we are discussing. The proverb says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. This is a Nigerian proverb. So thank you so much, Lexi. I want to hear from Sarah, and to everyone who just joined us for the Daily African Proverbs. This is a room that I host every single day, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I took a long break. I was in Kenya for almost 3 weeks, and one of the people that I met in person is Walter Koga, who is in this room with us right now. He's a legendary Nyatiti player who has been coaching me and making me become a better musician, and also just a better father and a better human being. So Walter, thank you for being here. I want to hear from Sarah. Sarah, share with us what your thoughts are in regards to today's proverb, lack of knowledge is darker than night. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Simon. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. I actually like what Lexi said. She kind of tapped my mind, but I was directed in a little different direction. It has actually just reminded me of how the world has evolved, that a lot of what we are experiencing now has become easier and less burdened, especially in terms of health. You see, if we look back when people did not have a lot of knowledge, a lot of pandemics have happened and a lot of people had died because we could not quickly, or the world could not quickly run to come up with mitigating measures or treatment options and so forth. But if we just look at the current moment where we are, COVID has happened, and immediately we kind of tried, or the world kind of tried to come up with things or different alternatives that could help or alleviate the burden of the disease. Not a lot of, so many people like previously have perished, but a little bit has been done and a lot of lives were saved. So if we now pursue knowledge continuously and continuously will make our own lives easier. But I also want to add on what Lexi said, that Black people, if you look at us now regarding to the current pandemic, a lot of Africans have really lost their lives because of lack of knowledge. And Africa needs to stand up, and we need to pursue knowledge seeking so that we will be able to come up with our own our own solutions, that we immediately act when something happens and immediately act to save our own people. And also, this will also help us to build walls, intellectual property. Guys, excuse, my daughter is in the house and she makes a lot of noise sometimes. So, Lexi has really touched on a very important point, that as Africans, we need to work together and collaborate so that we seek knowledge and take ourselves out of this deep, dark hole that we are always in. Thank you. I'm Sarah and I'm done speaking.
Wow, thank you so much, Sarah. I'm grateful. Yeah, there's a theme around unity when it comes to the proverb we are discussing. So I'm just excited to hear what everyone else in the room has to say, and it's always okay for your little ones to be a part of the room and for them to make as much noise as they want. I think it's important that we accommodate that. David, I would love to hear what you have to say about today's proverb. The proverb says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. This is a Nigerian proverb that was picked for us today by Nkem. Nkem Jika is a contributor to this space, and she has Nigerian roots as well. And I think Raphael has some Nigerian roots as well. But I want to welcome Joanne. I haven't heard your voice in a while, Joanne. So if you can come on stage, feel free. Naima, I haven't heard your voice in a long time. I hope you're doing well. And Karen, thank you all so much for being here. David, share with us what your interpretation is. For those who are meeting David for the first time, he's an application developer at ASTEC, and he's a leader doing wonderful things in Kenya. You should connect with him, especially if you're Kenyan and you're interested in developing young leaders. He's doing some amazing work with Yala High School, bringing tech to high schools in Kenya. David, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Simon, for the opportunity.
Hey, David.
And also,
I think I should have said St. Mary's Yala National School. I think the people who went there can kill me, right?
no, we call it the Gent School. The Gent School. Some people change that E to A to E and call it Yale, but yeah, that is just what goes on there. But thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you everybody who has also joined us on the stage, and also those who are listening in the listening lodge, and also followed by speaker. I'm really grateful. Let me take opportunity, Simon, today just to wish our fellow Kenyans happy Shujaa Day. Shujaa Day is actually the Heroes Day, and basically it's a day when we recognize heroes. Heroes can be your dad, your mom, or any activist that you kind of resonate with, a teacher. So it's actually the day when we do celebrate Heroes Day. So Suja just means heroes. I want to take this time to congratulate everybody and to celebrate the day with you. Again, my name is David Otieno. I am a Kenyan. I was born around Lake Victoria. And today, when I looked into the proverb that we shared, lack of knowledge is a darkness, is more than lack of knowledge is darkness than a night. That's how it is, Simon, I think, right? And I looked into this actually two ways. One is actually no information, little information, or lack of knowledge completely. And the other one is misinformation, meaning that you are given the wrong information. So normally at night, it's dark, and when it's at night, you cannot see. So sometimes you have to depend on your senses. I do remember when I was in the village, and you come back from home, you could walk, say, from one village to another, let's say to go and see your grandma. And then when you come back at night, all of a sudden it becomes dark. And then, of course, there are animals along the way. So you have to use your senses to kind of figure out which path to go or which path to follow. And of course, sometimes you can hear the animals growling and different things hissing. So then you avoid, that path because it's a dangerous path. Now, if you can remember when you are going to school, especially when you're in the elementary, when you're in the elementary, it is what they tell you is what you do. If they ask you to go to the left side, you go to the left. If they ask you to go to the right, you go to the right. But you don't question why am I going to the left or to the right. So basically, it is that you know little information, so you do exactly what you are told. And we have seen this little information or almost lack of information being used by our government sometimes when they want to rise to political positions. They actually deny you the information or they give you little information so that they can take advantage of that. So if they ask you vote for me, it's vote for me because of you actually do not know exactly what is their position on certain ideas or on certain values. So that is how they use lack of information, to control you. And it's really just not fair at this kind of time that we still have people who are not straightforward, who take advantage of information to control the other people. Then the one on misinformation, I just want to point out that it's so interesting that during the days when you were not in the digital technology, people were using little or lack of information to control you. Now that we are in technology, they provide too much information, or I would say misinformation to control you. So you can see that either using both lack of information or too much of information or misinformation can be taken advantage of to control. I wanted to add those and as actually a discussion point. And I think it's very important that we recognize these too. And therefore, when we engage with the youth, we have to be able to create some level of curiosity in their mind to understand that, lack of information or misinformation can be used to misguide them. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Simon, my name is David, and I'm done speaking for now.
Thank you, David. This is Simon speaking. I'm so grateful, for your share, especially your emphasis on, on how the impact of too much information and also the impact of too little information. But really, the end goal is the intention. What is the intention of the person who is, sharing or gagging you with the information, and also what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with this information? If you are a youth, what are you going to do with this information that you are receiving? That's amazing. I want to welcome everybody who is just joining us now to the Daily African Proverbs. We do this every single day on Clubhouse in the African Father in America Club, the green room right above my phone screen. Make sure you're following the African Father in America Club. That way, when we host this Daily African Proverbs room and also when we host other conversations, you'll be amongst the first to know. We are also organizing a number of amazing things, including One Vibe Collective. We are building a collective of creatives, authors, coders, people of African descent who are doing amazing things, and they want to be a part of a community where you can learn from each other but also get opportunities through each other. Let me know. And later on today at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be hosting 7 hidden travel gems in Africa. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be an amazing conversation about travel around Africa, and I'll be talking a lot about my recent trip in Kenya and also my trip next year. I'm doing 2 trips next year, so if you want to learn more, join me then. We've heard from Leki Malone, we've heard from Sarah, we've heard from David, and now we're going to hear briefly from Joseph Kafunda. Joseph is a a travel and tourist guide in Southern Africa. Joseph, thank you for being here. You know, for a while I didn't put two and two together, but you know, I'm just so excited that you're here. You know, Joseph and I connected through the room I was describing that is happening at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm a travel enthusiast, and Joseph is, you know, that's what he does. That's his bread and butter. So, Joseph, just quickly share with us your interpretation of the proverb, lack of knowledge is darker than night, and then share with us just briefly why you're passionate about traveling and why it's important that, you know, as African people, as people of African descent, we explore the continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you very much. Like you said, our connection came through a lot of routes. You have to unaongea Kiswahili, so meaning that I've been traveling for quite some times, but my traveling is always about reconnecting my roots in Africa, finding my origins before I get to Namibia. Myself, I'm currently living in Namibia, but I have traveled in order to connect the dots. I've traveled to Kenya, I've traveled to Uganda, I've traveled to West Africa just to understand or to gain more knowledge about my roots. Why did I find myself in Namibia? Was it my parents wanting me to live in Namibia, or did they want to live in Africa, in Namibia? So, because I believe that knowledge is power. And once you have gained that knowledge, you can be able to understand the reasons why you find yourself in those certain situations. And I will agree to the proverb today by saying that we as African, it's about time that we start doing our own research instead of waiting for someone to do our research. And with that comes also what I said, that my dots or my connection of the dots have come to me and have made me realize that it's about time that we tell the stories which were never untold, the stories that our grandparents told before civilizations or before colonization arrived in Africa. We need to understand by putting those dots together. So we will be doing documentary by African for Africans, where we're gonna connect all those dots together. Like for instance, I have three names. What does my three names stand for? I do have a Christian name, I do have an African name, and I do have my father's surname. But what does my middle name stand for? So those are the research that we are trying to connect the dots together so that we become more powerful. By gaining more knowledge, we become more powerful and we will not be able to stumble. So I believe now this is about the right time. Since we are reconnecting with our roots, it's the best way to tell the story as how we know it. And once we tell the story how we know it, it's going to make sure that the future generation or the generation that we're going to leave behind, our children, Sarah's child, which was crying right now, listening to us, she or he will be able to gain that knowledge and she will pass the knowledge to the others. Our generation, some of our parents did not tell us exactly where our origin is. So we are trying now to fit in and by connecting those dots, so which become very, very difficult. But I will say to everybody, join the journey, join the movements. Let's connect the dots together, because once we become more powerful as Africans, as brothers and sisters, we cannot be able to be stumbled by anybody. So let's gain the knowledge. I will end up there. My name is Joseph.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And you know, let's gain the knowledge is exactly why we do this room every single day. It's hard work to do this room every single day. And you know, since we started in January, you know, one of the people that I've been very, very consistent in not only supporting this room but supporting other programming that we brought to Clubhouse is Simply E. I haven't heard your voice in a long time, Simply E, so I can't, you know, I'm just excited to see you and to continue building. But for now, we are going to hear from Amy. You know, Amy is also another wonderful, you know, human that we connected with. I think we connected here on Clubhouse. And I wonder if you're in Kenya already, but I think you are planning to travel to Kenya around this time. But if you're meeting Amy Okun for the first time, she's a spiritual herbalism practitioner, an entrepreneur, and also a business owner. Amy, share with us your interpretation of today's proverb that says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Simon. Good morning, everyone. Um, it's just so happens, Simon, that I'm actually leaving for Kenya today, this evening, and I'm really excited about that. I'm very happy that I tuned in this morning and to hear you say that that was lifted, the curfew was lifted. So I'm excited about
You're
that.
going to have a good time. I'm definitely jealous. The curfew
Well,
made my
you just got back. I
I
was like
know.
listening. I was watching your Instagram and just looking at everything and just anticipating going. So I'm very excited. This is my my first time going to Kenya. So I
Hey, Amy.
Kenya is.
Just
Can you
make
hear me?
sure. Yeah, I hear you. Make sure you connect with Joan. She's right below you. She's in Nairobi. And also make sure you connect with Walter. Walter is down below. They're both in Nairobi and they're both good people. So after you connect with them, you don't need me anymore.
Okay,
Carry on.
wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I will be in Nairobi. So um, Kenya will be the fifth African country that I've been to. I've been to South Africa twice. I've been to Ghana, to Senegal twice, to Morocco, and now Kenya. And I'm very just excited and tying it into the proverb today. When I think about it, I think about it in two ways, in two different contexts. One is when you think about, the lack of knowledge is as dark as night. The positive of that is that everything is born in darkness. When we think about the womb and we think about birth, it's in darkness. So ideas happen and new things come out of lack of knowledge, right? So it's about the yin and yang, the positive that comes out of the negative, or the birth that comes out of nothing. And so when I think about knowledge, it's something that we're always aspiring to, and we never stop learning. As long as we are alive, as long as we incarnate in this world, in this life, we are always learning. So that's the beautiful thing about, you know, lack of knowledge, is there's always the opportunity to learn, and there's always so much to learn. But I think specifically, I love what Joseph said. I love what so many so many were saying before Joseph and Lexi, specifically. When I think about knowledge, I think it starts with know thyself, self knowledge first, specifically when we're talking about Black people as Africans, is really knowing who we are individually as human beings and understanding the legacies that we come from, and our own personal histories and our ancestral history. And I think that is a piece that we've been missing, to a certain degree, specifically in the West, is the ancestral piece. And Lexi talked about, the lack of unity in our community. And I think, I think it's kind of twofold. There, um, we definitely have unified in a lot of ways throughout history and accomplished some really great things. But there's also truly this lack of unity, which comes out of a lack of understanding and a lack of knowledge of self. And I think it starts with understanding our ancestry and understanding who we are. And that starts with the individual person, seeking, who am I in this place? Where did I come from? Because if you don't know your ancestry, if you don't know your history, you can't really know where you're going, because we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. So I also wanted to just share that if there is there's a documentary on Netflix. It's a docu-series called High on the Hog. I don't know if anyone has seen it. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It is really about the food that we eat, Black people eat in America, but it starts in Africa and it ties all of the cultural things that we may take for granted in this country, in the US, to Africa, why we eat the things that we think are Southern or, we think are uniquely Black American, and we realize that they really come from another place. They come from our roots and our ancestry in Africa. So when we see those ties, the connections, we start to understand more of who we are. And that opens up the world for us. So my name is Emmy. Again, thank you, Simon, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Amy. Wow. Thank you. You said so much that I wish we didn't have time limitations, and I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your voice also from Kenya once you get there. I think Kenya is going to completely change your life. Every time I go back home, when I lived in Kenya full time, I never really appreciated it. But now that I don't live there full time, every time I go home, I feel like a different person whenever I come back to Seattle. So thank you, my brother Raphael. Thank you again for your continued support. Raphael is a stay-at-home dad and is a podcaster and host of White Label American Podcast. You should definitely check it out. He's really one of the most consistent supporters of the Daily African Proverbs. And I want you to share with us your interpretation, Raphael. The proverb we are discussing today says that lack of knowledge is darker than night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother Simon, for giving me this platform as always. I'm going to be blunt today. I'm more blunt than usual. Today is the 1 year anniversary of the Leki Massacre. 1 year ago, during the NSAS protest, the Nigerian government murdered a bunch of peaceful protesters at Leki in Lagos. So, yeah, today's 1 year anniversary. And I don't know if you checked the person I tried to introduce you to, who I thought would be a good guest. Her video started to watch this program that we're doing today. A few things have been touched on by people who've gone before me, and I just want to point out that there's nothing. Black history is a global history. There's not black people are not limited to. They're not a monolith. We are not. I've never heard of any other people being tied to one type, or because there's this picture that's always created like we are supposed to be one people. We are not one people. We are diverse. We do different things. That's why I always push against when people always try to bring one religion, or I always push against that, because we are different people. We can be united under one continent, one uh, agenda, but we are not really united. And it's okay. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, go watch Freedom is Mine. It's a great channel on YouTube. It's for the family. It will open your eyes to um, how much history in the world Black people have contributed to. I'll give you one example. Turkey, the country called Turkey. Their independence, one of the best fighters that they had, a great pilot who contributed to their history. Before Turkey gained independence, the Republic of Turkey, because Turkey is one of the oldest nations, the Ottoman Empire. Someone who was part of the Ottoman Empire, a great fighter they had, and then he became a pilot. Was a black man, was a black Turkish man. There are black people who are Turkish. They're not consider themselves Africans, but thanks to slavery also being in that area, you got black people from there. They are part of Turkish history. We don't talk about that. There are black people who are part of Pakistan. They are black. We have the first black Pakistani who's in their parliament now. We have black people in India. We have black people in China. We have black people in Australia. I'm not talking about Africans who just migrated there recently because we have, so that's a different group of blackness there. We have two groups. That's why you have the first, you have proof of coins in Australia from the 12th century Tanzanian kingdoms, way before uh, the Dutch guy, not even James Cook. James Cook was the second white person to come to Australia. You have all that there, and it's documented. The question is, when we start saying, well, we have to start telling our stories. The stories are there. Do you support them? That's the question. Every black creator that's out there right now, do you support them? We don't. We don't. We don't support them. We don't show them. Go on Netflix. There's a bunch of black documentaries made by, and not even just black, because Africans are not just only black people. But Africans are different colors, because thanks to evolution, we started changing. Before you add slavery and colonialism, people's colors have been changing. I once gave a guy proof of how Vikings have been coming to what is North Africa today, and the guy's head almost exploded because he was like, "Oh my God! So Vikings? You mean Vikings have been mixing? I said people have been having sex all these years. So how come you think it's until the 19th century that Vikings started that then you had your first black Viking in the 19th century or what? People have been having sex all this time, and then you think Rome had how many African emperors? All that is part of it is documented. So why is it that you don't support all those documentaries? Go look at Nigeria's history on Netflix, made by Nigerians, Nigerian what are they called? Historians, documentarians, and it shows you how white people created a country called Nigeria, made of 300 ethnic groups. None of you support that. None of you, because you watch it threatens what you hold on to as religion, what you hold on, it threatens your foundation. That's why everybody shouts Ghana, 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 year of return. The year of return cancels your LGBT Ghanaians that they're persecuting today in Ghana. Nobody wants that because you're like, oh man, Africa is one. It's only one for the majority. Nobody wants all that kind of stuff. That's part of the ignorance. It's part of the darkness, and that's what this proverb is touching on, because we only like what is cool for everybody, for what doesn't threaten us. So when we talk about blackness today, we talk about Africa, we only talk as if it's only from America and people who live in Africa. We cancel the black people in Europe, we cancel the black people in Asia. Go to Vietnam. Go to Vietnam and see black. You see some people say they're Philippines. They have people who you look at their pictures, you're like, God damn, man, where are you from? They're Philippines, but people can't even, they can't even relate. You won't be able to describe how the hell they ended up on those islands. It's not even tied to slavery, some of them. But it's been documented by somebody. But will you watch it? Will you listen to the podcast? Are you interested in that? If they don't say Jesus, if they don't say Muhammad, if they don't say all that, would you listen? That's the question. So ask yourself that. If you can't answer that, then just maybe don't deceive yourself and just that's all I'll say. That's where I'll end it. And when you're ready to face the truth, then face the truth. Then people can come around the table. Because if you want a united Africa, if you want a united black people, it means united. If you say you are a pan-Africanist, the word pan means all. That means mulattoes, not mulattoes, albinos who are being killed in Malawi and other parts of Southern Africa because people still believe that you can become wealthy from murdering somebody who's lighter skinned, who has less melanin in their body, should be at the table. If you believe LGBT should be persecuted, should be murdered, they should be at the table. If you believe someone who's Jewish shouldn't be at the table, they are still African. We should have everybody, even those who don't have religion like myself, should be at the table. So think about that. And yeah, if you want everybody, or you don't have everybody, we should choose and we should be serious about it. Or we do what Kenyan president did under Trump and say Kenya first.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. We need an entire session just for you to expand on this, and also for us to invite other people. So connect with David. By the way, we are reviving programming in Africa Day Club. You know, we hosted an important conversation this Saturday, and we want people who can help us, run programming on Africa Day Club every single week. So we will be replaying some of the Africa Day celebration content from this year, but we also want to, create action and, ensure that some of the things we talk about, we also connect with leaders and, implement change in real life. So connect with David, please. Naima, I hope you're doing well. Share with us your interpretation of today's proverb: lack of knowledge is darker than night. Thank you so much. And to everyone else who is in the room, I turned off hand raising. I do that typically at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, half an hour into the program, so that we can just focus on the conversation. So join us tomorrow early. If you come in within the first 30 minutes, we'll bring you on stage and keep you on stage until the end of the conversation. I'm changing the format and the running of the program just a little bit. Naima, the mic is yours. I hope you're doing great.
Thank you so much, Simon. Welcome back. I don't know if that's appropriate, because welcome back to Africa was, I feel, probably more appropriate than welcoming you back to this side of the world. Nevertheless, welcome. I just want to say this speaks a lot in many ends as an African. One, lack of knowledge of self, lack of knowledge of what we have as resources in Africa, lack of knowledge of the wisdom that we come from and the greatness that we come from. And that is why we are in the darkness that we are. And if you look at this room right here, every single one of us carries a first name that is not African. And this is not true for many other parts of the world, and this speaks to our lack of connection to ourselves. And the desire to be accepted and to assimilate, and seeing that assimilation as success. If you look at Africa, we're not poor. Africa is not poor. Africans are the ones who are poor. We have a poor state of mind and poor state of seeing ourselves. We don't know how to see ourselves. We've been trained out of it. And the thing is, until you're able to see yourself, nothing else is clear. Until you're able to value who you are, nothing else is clear. And if you wonder why things are in chaos, is because, one, we can't recognize ourselves, and we are almost at the point at which even our ancestors can't recognize us. So if you can't recognize yourself, nothing in this world is worth anything. Okay, so as Africans, if I value myself, if we value ourselves, then we will be able to value the next African. The reason why we don't value each other is because we don't value ourselves. So I say this to say that I am, just starting on my journey back to myself, back home. And home is where I am. Earth belongs to all of us. But knowing where I come from, knowing what price has been paid for me to be here today, okay, and the responsibility that carries for the future, it is the knowledge that we need right now. So it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to realize that we were the beginning of all of it. If you look at Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all of it started from us. All of it started from us. All of it started in Egypt. And if you look at us today, a lot of us were stolen. They stole doctors, engineers. They stole great minds, strong people. And the rest of us came chasing. Okay? Just reflect on that. We're still chasing. We still don't know what we have. Okay? So the minute we wake up and realize what we have, everything comes alive. Okay, so that's all I have to say. If you want to join me on this journey, please message me, and we can start this movement together. I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself. They did it
collectively against us, to us, the only way we can get out of this is together. We can't do it apart. And with that, I'm complete. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Naima. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, to see you, to hear your words of wisdom, and I want to welcome everyone who is in the room on Clubhouse to the Daily African Proverbs, and also everyone who is on YouTube. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you just leave your comment with what this proverb means to you. The proverb that we are discussing, that Naima shared with us her interpretation of, says that lack of knowledge is darker than night. This is a Nigerian proverb, and I'm just so grateful. I want to pass the microphone to Simply E to share with us her interpretation of this amazing proverb.
Peace, and thank you, Simon. Yeah, this one, I can really appreciate it because what I'm doing is taking it to an elementary level. So lack of knowledge is darker than night. So we think about nighttime and the darkness, right? Nighttime is not constant. We have to look forward to the day or the morning or the light coming forth. And even if you're not looking forward to it, say you're a person who loves the darkness, you love the night, you don't have a choice, right? It's coming. The morning is coming. The light is coming. The next day is coming. So to say that lack of knowledge is darker than night, I think it means that at least at nighttime, there's a specific time. And you have to, if not, even if you don't want to, return back to the light. But in knowledge, in lack of knowledge, that's not, it doesn't have a predetermined time. So if you're lacking knowledge, that could be for an extensive amount of time. And oh my goodness, the darkness that comes with that could be, a long period. So it's very important for us to be open to knowledge and of course, wisdom. And gaining and gathering knowledge as much as we can on things that are very important to our mind, body, spirit, and soul. That's my interpretation of the daily proverb.
Thank you, Simply E. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to hear your poems. It's been a long time, really, and so thank you so much. And I took from what you shared, one of the things I took away was, we should be open to knowledge and wisdom. And this is also a theme I've picked up from the last few shares, that knowledge is something that is there in abundance. Wisdom is there in abundance. And it reminds me of another African proverb that says, wisdom is like fire. We take it from each other. With that, I want to welcome Jay. Jay is another amazing leader. She says that the world is thirsty for kindness, happiness, integrity, truthfulness, and love. Be a rejuvenating and refreshing cold glass of compassion. Jay, thank you so much. If you're meeting Jay for the first time, she's a playwright, she's a poet, she's a spoken word artist, a pretend singer, and and many, many, many things. The mic is yours, Jay. Thank you so much for being here.
Dear brother Simon, it is always an honor anytime I'm able to be in this room. I'm going to steal your word. I'm so grateful. The first thing that came to mind to me was when I was in Dublin and went to the old library in the book Kells, which dates back like to, AD 800, something like that. And I was crying, just crying. And for this proverb, for me, it made me think about how darkness has invaded the world, our hearts, our minds, our thinking, our ability to care, our inability to show compassion, our inability to see our fellow human being as flesh and blood, just like us, that everyone has the same desire to want to live free, but there is something in us that is so dark that we just can't see it. And it causes that self harm. It causes that willingness to see another human being as less than a human, to cause pain, to cause suffering, to cause anguish. So when I think of this proverb and being in darkness of our understanding of the significance to our lives of this planet, the importance and the necessity, and to care for it. And that for some reason, and for my understanding of this proverb and its application for me, is that we have lost that. When I say we, I never ever mean to mean everyone. I just mean those that have the power, the majority that have the power to cause that harm. Um, and I wish for all of us that we will get through this darkness and that we will have the knowledge needed and necessary to do the things that will bring us back into the light of what's most meaningful and what's most important. This is Jay, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you so much, my brothers and sisters.
Jay, thank you. Thank you so much. This is Simon speaking. I'm grateful for your share. And I want to quickly go to Malcolm Cash. Malcolm, briefly share with us your interpretation of today's proverb. Lack of knowledge is darker than night. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, most of the time, the lion hunt at night. And when they catch their prey, when they awake, they are full. Let us be as the lions. That's my interpretation. This is Malcolm.
Wow, Malcolm, that was even a deeper perspective. And, at the beginning of our room, I was learning that, and I was sharing that darkness is a bad place. But now I'm being convinced that, darkness is where, the birthing of ideas comes from. And also, now I'm learning that the lion mostly hunts at night. Thank you so much. Kay, Benjamin, thank you so much for being here with us today. Please share with us your interpretation of today's proverb. The proverb says, lack of knowledge is darker than night.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. I think that when I think of night or darkness, I can't see. So to me, the proverb is saying the lack of my ability to see at night. And it's saying that lack of knowledge is worse. And so, of course, I'm going to try to be knowledgeable. But what I have found is the most dangerous people are those who think they know, that they have the knowledge. And what I have found is I always look at everything now as I don't know. Because when I think I know, I get in trouble. I don't know. So I don't have this knowledge. And so I seek it. And as a people, to me, yes, the continent of Africa, the land is important. But as a people, it's the Spirit of God that has been poured into us. And as opposed to going around, this culture is different, their sexual orientation is different. Seek God that is only place where we can be united, because it, that goodness has been poured into us as a people in a very special way. And if you seek it, that's why I was on my way working, trying to get this visa together. I'm going to Ghana. Just and I was talking to my family. We were just talking about different countries we've been in, and so my two nieces are both high-level government workers, and they told me that when they had to go to Africa, different places, and at this time, one was talking about Ghana, that they were told that it's dangerous. You have to watch this, you have to watch that. It was a very ugly picture that they had, and I had to say to her, as she was describing how they were prepped to go to this country, I said, that just has not been my experience. And so I thought about, we really have to look at, if we made it this far, and those my peers who have money and comfort, and we have to recognize we are part of the problem, because we did not get here by not taking on some of the vestiges of the dominant culture. We are part of the problem. I'm just, one of the things, I got up this morning, I was a little off again, and and one of the things I've been trying to accept, it is what it is, and I've gotten that far, but I got a little farther today when I went to spirit. Yes, it is what it is, but it is not what it's going to be. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. This is Simon speaking. Kay, I'm just so grateful. It is what it is, but it is not what it's going to be. Wow, thank you so much. Mamzi, you have the honor of closing us out today. Share your interpretation of today's proverb, lack of knowledge is darker than night, and also just give us your closing remarks, and then we will end the room right after you share. Thank you so much. Mamzi, the mic is yours.
Hello, Simon. Hello, everybody. My interpretation of this proverb is just the night. When I hear night, everyone who has been, especially in Africa, knows that night, for people who live in the forest, people who live in villages, and even in the city but live in rough areas, the night means something scary. It means being mugged. It means being raped. It means in the forest being attacked by the wild animals. So the night is something really, really, really bad. Everybody's worried right before the night comes. Everybody. That is what the night represents to a common and poor African. And so when we say that the lack of knowledge is darker than that, we can all imagine what it means. That because when we don't have knowledge, that's where we are. That's who we are. And that is what it means for me. Because I work with people living in extreme poverty, and I had the chance not long ago to sit at a table dinner with the highest people in Cameroon, highest people of government, and all of them were assuring that a certain level of poverty does not exist in Cameroon. I didn't know it's because they just don't want to see it, or if it was just because they didn't know it, they haven't been close to it. And as I was sitting there trying to just tell them that I can just show you, because I work with them, I work with children who eat every other day in this country. They can't eat every day because they don't have it. But they were there assuring me, and they're the one running the country, that there is no hunger in Cameroon. Cameroon has food. Africa is rich. Someone said here that Africa is not poor. That is true. Africans are poor. We in our mind, and we all say that all along. I was listening. It was so beautiful. Everybody who shared, thank you so much. So much knowledge. We are poor because it's in our mindset. If I say in this room that I need help, how many of you will even back channel me and say, how can I help you? Even if you don't know how to help me, maybe you'll give me an advice. African people, we don't do that. We don't even help each other. We don't love each other. We don't want each other to grow. And someone said it here. There's none of us that will make it alone. We have to get together. The night we can fight it together. The night we can fight it together. So to me, that's what the proverb means. And my closing remark will just be like she said, let's get together. Let's really be like, let's be there for each other at night. I know my orphans in the orphanages in the darkest places in Africa. At night, as soon as they hear a noise, a strange noise, whether it's a burglar or whether it's an animal, they get together and they hug each other. They go under the bed or by the corner of the and they hug each other. This is how they give each other warmth and strength. Like, oh my God, what's coming? Let's get together. Let's do that. Let's do that. My name is Mamzi. I'm done speaking.
Wow, thank you so much, Mamzi. I'm so grateful for your share, and that's definitely an amazing way for us to wrap up our session. But I forgot that I probably skipped Joanne here, and so Joanne, I'll give it to you so that you officially close us out. I apologize. The mic is yours.
Happy Mashujaa Day, Simon. Happy Mashujaa Day, everyone out there. Mashujaa in Kiswahili dialect means hero, heroine, and that's what we are celebrating in Kenya today. Initially, this day was called Jamhuri Day. Jamhuri means republic, and that's when we gained our sovereignty on the 20th of October, and after the new constitution, this is now known as Heroines or Heroes Day. So Simon, you're a shujaa. Wewe ni shujaa. Maybe you'll interpret that or you'll translate that to the room. For me, lack of knowledge is darker than night. For me, I want to think of knowledge as something that we look for, as something that we deeply analyze to understand why. So it's just not knowing things superficially, but it's always wanting to know why what it is was, why what it is, and why what it is to come. So it's just always, analyzing and thinking deeper to understand what life is about. I will take the case of Mashujaa Day in Kenya. I don't think a lot of young people understand what Mashujaa is and what the heroes and heroines who struggled for the independence of Kenya in 1963 went through. I do not think they understand what it means, and that's why we have a lot of young people who are less patriotic. So I think we lack knowledge in the younger generation to understand the journey that the Kenyan independence went through to gain what we enjoy today. And it means that we do not appreciate our roots. And that for me is knowledge, not appreciating or not understanding what the older generations had to go through to gain independence from the British. And it's not for nothing that our forefathers used these words that are so wise, in that, we need to have knowledge for us to be able to grow. They actually, connected knowledge to growth. So we always need to just dig deeper, analyze, and understand issues and go to the root of the why to be able to move forward. Thank you very much, Simon. Welcome back to America. You left Kenya, and thank you for hosting this room. And I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, I will come back to Kenya soon, and I will remind you about the meal that you promised to cook. Anyway, I'm just so grateful. Today has been an amazing room here on Clubhouse. If you're watching on YouTube, like my brother Brian Bege, who is in the UK, Brian and I used to train as boxers in the same gym at railway, at the Railway Corporation's gym in Kisumu, Kenya. And he's been quite an amazing supporter of the work I do. Online, especially with these proverbs and just with the content I create. So Brian, thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube again, please make sure you leave your comment with what this proverb means to you. The proverb says, lack of knowledge is darker than night. And also make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Simon Javan Okelo. That's if you're in the Clubhouse room right now, or if you're watching this on YouTube later on. I am so grateful, and we are going to wrap up our room for now, but join me today at 1 p.m. for an amazing program that we have for you here on Clubhouse. The program is called 7 Hidden Travel Gems in Africa. 7 Hidden Travel Gems in Africa. You don't want to miss that. And then tomorrow we will be back here as usual for the Daily African Proverbs, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm so grateful. Take care of yourselves. Peace and love.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.